Stop guessing in the dark, literally. If finding leaks, tracing wires, or inspecting engine cylinders has ever felt like a blindfolded maze, these inspection cameras change everything. And today's countdown nails the 5 best options for every budget and use case. Here's what's inside. 5-to-1, real-world pros and cons, where they shine and where they stumble. Ending with a 2-way articulating borescope that, well, feels like cheating in tight spaces, so stick around for that twist at number 1. Number 5. Kinpthy Endoscope Camera with Light. The Kinpthy delivers the essentials: a 1920p HD camera, semi-rigid cable, adjustable LEDs, and IP67 waterproofing, which is more than enough for plumbing checks, drain traps, and appliance repairs without soaking a phone or fingers in grime, you know. The semi-rigid probe is easy to guide and holds shape reasonably well in horizontal runs, helping trace runs behind cabinets or under sinks without collapsing into a coil, which is a common headache with cheaper coils. Been there. The LED brightness control is responsive, so glare inside reflective metal ducts is manageable if dimmed, while still bright enough to punch through dust and cobwebs in return air chases. In use, the clarity is solid for its class. Thread pitch on fasteners, hairline corrosion, and gasket edges show up clearly enough to make decisions without a second pass, which, honestly, is what an entry tool should do every single time. On wet tasks, IP67 gives confidence. Short dips in traps or rinse-outs after sewer inspections don't phase it, and the housing wipes clean fast after a grimy pull from a condensate pan or sump inlet. As a generalist borescope, it's competent and approachable, especially when just starting out with hidden space inspections around a home or shop. Now, the downsides. The cable stiffness is fine for straight runs, but can feel springy when trying to hold an awkward mid-air bend into a side branch, so it can overshoot and bounce past the target, which, well, wastes time in walls and ducts. 4. Daxiongmao Endoscope Camera with Light. The Daxiongmao steps up usability with a built-in 4.3-inch LCD. No phone, no apps, no Wi-Fi, just power it on and get to work, which is refreshing when hands are greasy or wet, right? The 8mm camera head with IP67 rating pairs well with the 16.5 feet semi-rigid cable, making it a capable pick for automotive cylinders, wall cavities, and basic drain checks across long runs. The onboard interface is straightforward, and the viewing angle is wide enough to make position mistakes less punishing, especially when the tip can't be perfectly aligned. Illumination is strong from the 8 LEDs, and that extra light helps in black ABS drains, oxidized ducts, and soot-stained chimneys, where dark materials usually eat cheap light sources for breakfast. I mean, it's a real thing. The accessory kit, hook, magnet, side mirror, actually saves jobs when retrieving screws or clips out of HVAC plenums or engine bays, and the replaceable probe cable is a small but meaningful durability win over throwaway designs. For general trade use, that convenience adds up fast across the week. But a couple of caveats. Some versions cannot take photos or video, which is a non-starter if documentation is mandatory for clients or warranty claims, and it's frustrating because the hardware feels capable otherwise. Also, color fidelity and fine detail on the built-in screen are good for navigation, but not leading for micro-defect identification. Subtle scoring or early-stage rust blooms can look flat unless the mirror angle and distance are perfect, which slows things down. 3. NIDAGE Dual Lens Borescope Inspection Camera. This is where the list gets exciting. The NIDAGE brings dual lenses, forward and side, so switching perspectives becomes a button press instead of a wrist yoga session, and that alone speeds up cylinder, valve, and branch line inspections dramatically. The 1920p HD capture with a clear integrated display gives crisp visibility, and the semi-rigid 11.5 feet cable has enough backbone to hold arcs into ceiling runs or drop into sump pits without fighting the operator on every inch. The UI lets the image rotate digitally, which sounds minor, but when the probe twists inside a conduit, keeping up consistent prevents mental gymnastics and misreads, you know. In practice, the side camera makes quick work of bore walls, valve faces, and side ports inside manifolds. It also uncovers hairline corrosion lines that a forward-only camera can miss or blur at awkward angles, which is huge on pre-purchase automotive checks or HVAC coil edge inspections. Brightness control is responsive, and the LEDs are well concentrated, avoiding that washed-out halo effect in shiny copper lines that plagues budget scopes. The overall package strikes a sweet balance between price, features, and speed of work, and it feels purpose-built for technicians who take lots of photos mid-job. Limitations are light. The cable length is mid-range, so very long pipe runs still outpace it unless a pull string is used. And the semi-rigid feel is tuned for control more than brute stiffness, so pushing through dense insulation can require patience and a gentle spiral technique. 2. MugEasy Inspection Borescope Camera. The MugEasy pairs a sharp 4.3-inch IPS screen with 1920p HD capture, wide 170 degrees viewing, and 8 adjustable LEDs, giving it an impressive field sense in tight cavities where framing is tricky and glare is a constant battle. Well, unless LEDs are dialed in. The semi-rigid 16.4 feet cord provides a useful balance of reach and shape memory, handling soffits, foundation vents, and long vanity runs without feeling like a wet noodle or a crowbar, and that balance matters when steering around junctions. Color clarity is good enough to distinguish fresh moisture from old stains, which helps in leak tracing or roof boot checks, where tones matter. The brightness ladder is nuanced, letting the image stay usable inside dusty or reflective environments. Combined with the wide angle, it's easier to read context, like seeing both a fastener and its mounting lip in one frame, so fewer probe flips and less backtracking overall. Durability is respectable with IP67 construction, and the day-to-day workflow benefits from not using a phone. Just power on, capture, and move on. No app crashes, no notifications popping over client photos mid-shot, thankfully. Where it falls short, the emphasis on a wide field can slightly soften micro-detail at the edges, so ultrafine cracks are best caught dead center with precise distance. That's technique, but worth noting. Also, while the cord length is generous, extremely long conduit or sewer chases still belong to specialty systems. This is a versatile generalist, not a drainline specialist. Number 1. DXZtoz Two-Way Articulating Borescope. Here's the game changer. Two-way articulation at the tip, controlled by a thumb wheel, so the camera's direction turns on command, look forward, bend into a side branch, then look back at valves, all inside a small cavity without withdrawing the probe, which feels magical the first time. The 0.33-inch camera head with IP67 rating and a 4.3-inch color display keeps the package compact while still delivering the control needed in automotive cylinders, aircraft components, and complex plumbing traps, where non-articulating scopes just slide past the thing that matters. The bending radius is impressively tight, listed down to roughly 29 to 34 millimeters depending on model, meaning it navigates sharper turns than typical competitors at this size class. And that opens up U-bends and junctions that used to be off-limits. I mean, it's a productivity unlock. In real work, this saves hours. Pop a spark plug, guide in, bend to inspect cylinder walls, and then articulate 180 degrees to check valve faces without exiting. Or push into a P-trap, articulate to inspect the pooling zone, and retrieve with a magnet if needed. Yeah, those accessories matter here. The 1080p class imaging with bright LEDs is more than adequate when combined with controlled viewing angles. Detail that would normally require ideal probe placement is now revealed by simply steering the tip, which reduces do-overs and awkward wrist rotations that tire the hands. Battery life around 4 hours on certain kits and included storage media options mean it's truly field ready, not a bench toy.